friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today's video is going to be a recap of my second year of grad school. I was sitting here trying to think back on everything that happened in the year and put my thoughts together. And every time I kept thinking to myself, wait a minute, this also happened this year. And this also happened and this also happened this year. A lot has happened, needless to say, but I'm going to do my best to condense it all into one video. So sit back and relax as I take you through my second year graduate experience. Who knows, maybe you can learn from some of my mistakes. Please try to do better. Maybe you can even take these as some tips to optimize your graduate experience or some things to avoid. Anyways, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that this year was super easy and super breezy. I'm a very open book, and I hope that everybody on this channel recognizes that. I created this channel to give a holistic insight into what it's like navigating through grad school, academia, astrophysics as a woman of color in STEM, period. My experiences are going to drastically differ than those of a cis hetero white man. So because I align on multiple different axes of the minority, I'm going to struggle a lot. Just a warning ahead, not all of these experiences are going to be very pleasant. Not all of these are going to be very positive, but that's the reality of the situation. And so I want other people who maybe share similar identities to mine to be able to hear this. And as I echo this, it will hopefully paint an image as to what your experience might look like. Now, I'm hoping that some of these things don't also happen to you, but as a fair warning, here it is. If you've never experienced any of this, I'm really happy for you. But I don't want anyone to think this is a limited experience, because I know that this happens to others and a lot of people don't talk about it very often. So essentially what I'm alluding to is I faced quite a few microaggressions this year. It was really tough to navigate, although the only reason that I was able to make it through is due to the community that I have here. Now, I'm not saying that these microaggressions were intentional, and I'm not trying to paint anybody at my university as a bad person. Unfortunately, this happens quite often in the real world. That's just the way that it is. That's why there are plenty of trainings on implicit biases and microaggressions and how to be better in the workplace. You have these trainings, but unfortunately, some people slip up, and it's okay. You have to give them grace. Early on in the academic year, there was a guest speaker that was invited to give a talk at this grad organized event. This speaker sparked a little bit of controversy amongst the grads simply because he works for a weapons manufacturing company. He was very involved in creating optical systems for JWST. However, the company that he worked for creates weapons of mass destruction. Now, I know that the military industry complex is directly entangled with astronomy in many ways, shapes, or forms. NASA was created as a result of the Manhattan Project, So since its inception, the two are very intertwined. However, I am a firm believer that the scientific community, specifically astronomy, has moral obligations to uphold to distance itself from harmful industries. This is my own personal opinion, and I won't go into a long rant on this unless you really want to. I can make a whole video on this. But many of us grad students did not support the idea of having a representative from a company that creates weapons of mass destruction to come and give a talk on our behalf. We have grad students who are from countries of the global south, whom our privilege of living here in the US only comes at the consequences of people suffering in their country. So anyways, it was a whole thing. I'm trying not to get too deep into it. I and a few others decided maybe we should bring this subject up to the entire department to talk about. It was great. People were talking to each other and actually being empathetic and understanding where we were all coming from. And we're trying to hope that we can get to a place of understanding where we as a department have a statement outlining some of our own values and maybe create some kind of system that we go through, which will help us determine which invited speakers are more aligned with who we are as a department. Some of this actually caused some discourse. Many of us grad students who brought this up were people of color. And it was met with opposition. And unfortunately, there were a couple racial microaggressions which were thrown around. And it was not okay. Many of us were hurt by this, me specifically, because I think I was one of the more vocal ones, because that's just my personality. And yeah, it sucked. It was something very hard to navigate. The positive that came out of it is I learned how to have tough conversations. Honestly, I think that both parties felt a little bit better after the whole thing was resolved. So even though it can be a little daunting, like I think I learned how to stand up for myself, how to stand up for like my identity, as well as my community, right? Because I, as a scientist, like I said earlier, I align on multiple different axes of identity. I'm a woman. I'm a woman of color. I'm a Black woman. I'm a Nigerian woman, right? I'm a queer ally. So I have to make sure that everything I do is considerate of all of those different axes. And I do my best to stand up for those who can't, to advocate for those who can't, given every single circumstance. Like I said, it really can be hard given the fact that there are different levels of like power dynamics. Like I, as a lowly grad student, of course, don't have a lot of power, but the little power that I do have, even if it's for a 6-year-old in Palestine, like scared for their life, right? If I can do anything here in my own power, like to help, I will do it with that in mind. Again, I want to emphasize that all of this was made easier given the community that I have here. I had postdocs that I could rely on. You know, I had a couple faculty that I could also like seek counsel with. Grad students were always right behind me in all of this. And for that, I am grateful. I'm also grateful for the leaders of this department who were also willing to have these hard conversations with me. I know that in other universities, like this might not have been even possible at all. Some departments would have been like, shh, you're a grad student, we don't care. There's nothing that we can do for you. But it was nice to have the leaders of the department actually sit down and talk to me. So to wrap this all up, out of that whole thing, I definitely learned that advocating for yourself is hard. But at the end, I think it is totally worth it, especially if it's going to bring positive change to your department, to your life, to the life of other grad students or anyone else like in the broader community, whether it's the scientific community, whether it's the city that you are in. It could even be globally as well. Think of all the other people that you are representing. Moving right along into the list of things, if we're going in chronological order, probably the second thing that I came across early on is that I did a lot of conferences all at the same time. Do you guys remember this? I had a conference in Phoenix, and then like 2 weeks later, or a week later or something, I had another conference in Houston. And then like 2 weeks after that, I had another conference in Japan. I will never do that again. That was a huge learning experience for me. I love a good conference. For those that know me, y'all know I really love a good conference. Why? Because I get to show out. I love to go dressed up in my cute little outfits, talk to some people, explore a new city or maybe even a new country. But I was so burnt out. Like, I don't know if it was obvious, but by the time I was in Japan, I was exhausted, mainly because I was trying to do so much work I was presenting 2 different projects across 3 conferences, but I was trying to get so much work done for both of the projects so I could have like new things to present. And I think I just drove myself to a point of insanity. Like I was overworking myself big time. Like I'd go to the office, work, come home, would like work. I'd be like panicking. Like, am I gonna be ready for these conferences? Am I gonna have something new to show like my advisors? Why aren't my results like going the way that they were? At one point, it was so bad. I wasn't eating anything really. It was so hard for me to focus on anything or even like relax. My sleep schedule's all over the place and I was crashing. Like I hit a wall. I did not want to go to Japan at all. Like I had to force myself to get on that flight and go. I booked my flight, I think maybe 3 days before I was supposed to go. And I landed in Japan and I was just like, I don't want to be here. And I'm always so excited to travel. It's like one of my hobbies, but I just could not be excited to be there. And I was just counting down the days on when I could go home. I remember when I was filming my vlog in Japan, I'd have to like jump up and down, like, look happy, you're happy, you want to be here. It was so bad, but I wasn't happy. I think I even said this in like my first year recap Take time out for yourself. Like, take care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, like, none of this really matters. Let's be honest. Like, we as astronomers, we're not saving lives out here, okay? None of the work that we do is important in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't fucking matter. So don't drive yourself to a point of insanity all for the sake of a stupid fucking figure. If you aren't well, you can't do good research. Like, academia is unforgiving. Academia doesn't give a fuck about you. Yeah, so don't push yourself so hard. Like, I knew I was in a bad place because when I got home from Tokyo, I flew back to Seattle to pack and go home for like Christmas break. And when I got to the airport, like my mom picked me up and she said that she wanted to cry because I looked so bad and like really thin and just really unhealthy. So never let yourself get to that place. I know it can be hard, especially if you're like me. Whenever you start working on something, you just have to keep going and going and going. But yeah, don't do that. Take time for yourself, which leads me to my next point, which is a bit more on a happier note. The next thing is to celebrate all of the small things. Celebrate all of the little milestones. The little milestones are important. Not only that, they're like the only things that really keep you going. Like in academia and just like in anything in life, you run into some challenges, you face some roadblocks. Take me, for example, my horrible telescope proposal submission. For those who know, you know. But for those who don't, I accidentally deleted my telescope proposal like whenever it was due, and it was traumatizing, okay? Even though like it sucked in the moment and I felt really bad, ultimately I was like, okay, I should find some way to celebrate this. I wrote a proposal. Like, did I end up submitting it? No, but I spent weeks writing it, researching it, preparing for it, so I should find some good that like comes out of it. So my friends and I, we went to get boba and like sit in the sun and enjoy the nice day outside. Like, was I crying the whole time? Yes, but I was celebrating as well. Another example of this is celebrating my master's. For those who don't know, I'm a newly graduated master's student. Master's degrees are not celebrated in physics or astronomy. You only get a master's if you technically like fail your qualifying exams. But, you know, you get a master's when you're done with classes. So I was done with classes and I was like, you know, I'm gonna celebrate this master's degree. And everyone was looking at me crazy of like, okay, no one celebrates master's degrees. Like, you only celebrate when you get your PhD. And I'm like, you guys only celebrate when you get your PhD. I need to feel something, okay? The world around me is crumbling. Funding for science is getting cut everywhere, courtesy of Donald Trump and the fucking idiots running this country. Like, it's so bad to the point where some universities are like not accepting new grad students for the next academic year. Like the Europeans, the Canadians, they all recognize that astronomy is like sinking or crumbling here in the US, that they opened up grad applications for Americans to apply there. Like, are you kidding me? Anyways, beside the point, the world of astronomy is like kind of sad. So I'm like, let me feel something. I want to celebrate my master's. So I invited my closest friends, my sisters, and I was telling all the grad students, I'm like, you know, you're invited to my graduation. And they're like, graduation? Like, they all were looking at me like I was crazy. Some of the faculty were also a bit confused by the idea of including me in a master's ceremony. But here's the thing, babe. You gotta be the trendsetter. Be the change you want to see, okay? I'm a girl on a mission. I wanna see myself walk across stage. So I'm gonna do what I can to make it happen, to make myself feel good. And what happened? I felt amazing afterwards. It was like what I needed to not only celebrate the fact that I'll never have to take another class again, but also to like be proud of like such a huge accomplishment. Like, it is no easy feat getting a master's degree. Why are we acting as if it's not something to celebrate? You know what I mean? But now look at what I've started. Every year, the master's students are gonna be celebrated at graduation. You're welcome. Anyways, that was a long ramble, but what I'm trying to say is celebrate literally everything. If you have finished classes for the semester, celebrate it. Go get your favorite ice cream, you know? Go get a drink with your friends. Like, go clubbing, like if you want. Buy yourself that pretty outfit or those cool shoes that you've been wanting to buy like for the longest time. You deserve it. No achievement is small when you're chasing the stars, okay? So go big. I also want to swing back onto the theme of classes. So one thing that I learned about being in classes is that classes don't really matter. This is a secret that probably shouldn't be told, but the secret is out, okay? I think when you're in a PhD program, all of your professors, they try to pass you. Like, they don't want to fail you. I'm pretty sure because it's more paperwork for them to fail us or like fire us. So they just pass everyone. I think the only way that you could like be kicked out of your program is for like plagiarism or something. When I was an intern in New York City, someone in the office actually told me this. They told me like, you know, Oge, when I was first starting in grad school, I just wanted to see how bad I could possibly do before someone would do anything about it. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, yeah, like I didn't do really anything. Like, you know, like I didn't turn in homeworks. I was doing really bad on assignments or like exams or something, just to see like what would happen. And he was like, my advisor told me and was like, hey, you know, like we can't fail you, but like you have to try. And he was like, from then I knew like, okay, even if I put in like bare minimum effort, I'm still gonna pass. And I thought he was just joking about that, but here I've learned it's also the same. Like I can't even put into words how many homework assignments I've turned in so late. Like this past academic year for my cosmology class, I was so behind. I literally turned in like 5 homework assignments on maybe the last day of class. And I still passed with like, I don't know, almost a 4 or something like that. So I don't know. I don't think they really care much about how you do in classes. They just care mainly about your research. And if this is the wrong advice to be giving you guys, I am so sorry. If there's anybody that's watching this that actually has like a PhD or is even like a professor or something, if this is the wrong thing to tell people, please let me know in the comments. But sorry, this is what I've learned. This is what I've heard. If you're like in classes and you're feeling a bit overwhelmed or like nervous about how you're gonna do, just do your best. Just show your professors that you're trying and like everything is gonna be fine, okay? Don't stress about it. Another thing that I've learned is that there's also reward in writing. Now, I am someone who hates writing. This is not a new theme. If you've been here for a while, then you know. I'm not very good at it, but I've learned practice makes perfect. This is something that everybody always like preaches, but I think I've seen firsthand, especially this academic year, how true that is. I've written quite a few proposals lately. I applied for a fellowship. Unfortunately, I was not awarded this fellowship. I was honorable mention, and I feel like that might be because dear President Donnie decided to cut funding from the National Science Foundation. I also applied to a couple summer internships, one of which I was not awarded. The other one I was awarded, but ultimately could not accept due to other circumstances. I also applied for a telescope proposal, which we know wasn't submitted. And then I also applied to another internship, and this one is one that takes place over the course of a whole semester. And after applying to a lot of these different like fellowships and awards and stuff, I'm like, when am I actually going to get one that I'm excited about, one that I'm excited to celebrate, one that I really want? And y'all, I freaking got the internship that I wanted. And I'm like, wow, I'm like so proud of myself because I didn't think I was going to get it. And it's very, very competitive. They only select a few people, but I know for a fact I wouldn't have gotten the internship if I wasn't continuously practicing my writing abilities. And I've seen that my writing has gotten significantly better since just like randomly applying for things. Like I actually feel confident in my writing capability, more confident, not super confident, in my writing abilities than at the beginning of the academic year. Sure, does it take me a little bit of time to like get started in writing, but I feel very confident. Specifically for this internship that I was awarded, everyone kept telling me it's too competitive. Like, don't spend more than an hour writing it. They choose people randomly, whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to half-ass anything. That's not my personality. That's not who I am as a person, like as a scientist, nothing. So I'm going to make sure to put my best foot forward. Plus, I've been practicing a lot. I want to make this the best application that I've written probably all year. And I think it paid off. Like, I'm really, really proud of the application I wrote. And I'm really, really, really fucking proud that I get this opportunity. I'm really, really excited to announce that we are actually gonna be taking a trip across the country for a couple of months. So I'm gonna bring you guys along with me, of course, so you can experience this internship with me as well. And we're actually gonna be going to a very exciting city. If you wanna guess what city it is, leave it down in the comments. Maybe some of you already know, but I'll tell you in the next video where we're going. I encourage you all to just write, you know, in in your free time. One of my advisors was telling me, just spend like 30 minutes a day writing. Whether that's practicing science communication, or maybe you should start putting together an introduction or an outline for your research that you're going to publish very, very soon. I encourage you all to do the same. It helps. There are plenty of resources for how to become a better writer, specifically for science communication, that you can look up. It helped me, and I hope that it helps you too. And now for my last experience, probably the one that I get asked about the most often, and that is, how is research going? Research is going good, I think. I don't know. I feel like things come in waves. As some of you know, I had 2 research projects, and now I only have 1. Navigating research has been a bit interesting lately. I have a research project that focuses in computational astrophysics. So I have simulations that I analyze. Other project was more observational, and it was all about interstellar dust. So these 2 projects were all about galaxies and kind of galaxy formation. And I was hoping that I could find some way to combine the 2, but ultimately I learned encompassing dust into simulations is a very, very hard thing to do. There are a lot of radiative transfer equations that you have to integrate that makes running the simulations and creating the simulations just very, very hard to do. And ultimately, I wanted to be this astronomer that is aligned along the intersection of theory and observation. But I just realized with these 2 projects, I couldn't do it. My advisors were like, this could be longer than a PhD thesis. So I think that you will just have to choose either one or the other. And it was really hard. I'm not going to lie, because I'm like, wow, I spent so much time learning how to be an observer, how to analyze observational data, how to read spectra, how to read spectral energy distributions, how to read dust attenuation curves, things like that I was never accustomed to because I do everything theoretical. And it was really hard to say goodbye to that, especially I'd learned so much. I met so many amazing people. I was introduced to so many opportunities, and to walk away from that, it was pretty hard. Is there a world in which I could be back along the lines of both? Yes. I just think it might have to be for a different subject. Although I hope that I can collaborate with some of the observers again in the future, but that is how research is going. So now I'm back to all theory, which is great. It's fine. I love it personally. I'm still enjoying it. I've hit a couple roadblocks and all right, how do I finish up this project? And I think I've learned how to effectively communicate with my advisors a bit better, how to go into research meetings, because sometimes I don't always have results to show. I think there is this expectation that every research meeting you go into, you should have some cool new result, or you should have these grandeur figures or plots to show, but I didn't always have that. So lately I've realized, going in with questions sometimes is better than going in with results. Because going in with questions, I think, sparks conversations and interesting ideas. I've also learned that reading helps a lot. I'm not a reader or a writer, but one thing that I've been very fond of lately is reading other scientific papers on the archive and going to my meetings with my advisors with different figures or results from others and be like, okay, how does this relate to what we're doing? It feels more collaborative that way, actually having a conversation with your advisor rather than it just being here's this figure that I made. How does it look? What do I do better? And they're like, do this and this and this and this and this. It's more of telling you what to do rather than, I don't know, having a conversation. I want my advisors to look at me as a collaborative partner rather than simply as just, I am teacher, you are student. Of course, I am their student. But yeah, I want it to feel more dynamic. I am nearing the end of my project, I've realized. So very soon your girl will be a published author at some point, I hope within the next year. And once I have a paper that's ready to publish, then I will be up for my first qualifying exam. Let's hope I pass. But I will also bring you guys along with me on that as well. So I think slowly but surely, I'm coming up with an idea of what I want my thesis to look like, what kind of projects I want to be within my thesis. As I mentioned a while ago, your thesis just consists of 3 research projects. So I'm nearing the end of one, kind of developing how I want my second one to go, which my second project I'm hoping to complete at my internship while I'm away in the Mystery City. If all things go according to plan, I'll have maybe one more project to do and I'll have a thesis. I'll be a fucking doctor, y'all. Of course, you guys will be there every single step of the way and I will let you know how it goes. Tune in for the chaotic ride. With that, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it to the end of this video, I hope that you've learned a lot from my second year recap. I cannot believe I'm going into my third year this fall. Let me know if you've experienced anything similar in your PhD program or even your undergrad program. We are here to have conversations with each other. You learn from me. I also want to learn from you. So please help me out. I also just saw recently that I have 600 subscribers, which is so crazy to me. Every once in a while when I get a little notification from YouTube about my subscriber count, I just start like over analyzing. And I think I get a little bit overwhelmed by how many people are watching me every other week or so. I get a little bit nervous, but I'm really, really happy to have you all here regardless of nerves. I just never in a million years thought that there would be 600 of you watching me. So to all of you out there, hi. I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope that you find these videos incredibly helpful. And if you do, please feel free to share them with anyone that you know might also need them as well. That is ultimately what I wanted to get out of this channel. Please also feel free to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I hope you guys are also having a really good summer break wherever you are, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.